Hi there, this is Dani, and the channel is You and Me Living Free, and today we're driving into Sedona, Arizona. I'm not even sure where to begin as I talk about Sedona. This video will give you an idea of what it's like there, what it's like to drive in and to drive out, to be downtown and to be around and what there is to do. It'll give you an idea what it is like to camp on BLM land. I took a drive through forestry Road 525, which is a very common place to camp for free about 10 miles south of Sedona. But really for me, Sedona, the story of Sedona is so much bigger. I want to just also apologize for my windshield and how dirty it is. You know, driving through the forest to get here through Flagstaff and some of the mountains and all the trees and everything, no matter how many times I tried to clean my windshield, there's always stuff on it. Anyway, the story of Sedona is a lot, and it was kind of a huge roller coaster ride for me. This is just me driving in, so I have some time to start telling you this story. Sedona is one of the places I have always wanted to go. For as long as I can remember as an adult, I have wanted to go to the Grand Canyon and Sedona, Arizona. Those were two of the pinnacles of what I would call bucket list, or like the ultimate in nature, even before I thought nature was cool, which now I know it's the ultimate cool. But even before I thought that, I always wanted to go to Sedona because not only because of the red rock and the way it looks. I love the high desert. You know this if you've been watching me. I know I love mountains, and the ocean does something amazing for me as well. But high desert is also just one of my very, very, very favorite places on earth. It moves me profoundly. But Sedona also has that kind of spiritual aspect of the energy vortex, right? It has a series of these vortices where the energy really swirls up and moves and makes things happen, comes together, makes maybe profound growth and creativity and insight and all that even more possible. So that's very intriguing for me. Plus, I've been a little more sensitive to the energy of places and stuff over the last 10 or 15 years. And also then Sedona has this community of artists, right? So being around that creativity and the flow of artists is also very appealing. So this whole 12 months really is about a spiritual journey as much as anything. At its core, it really is about a spiritual journey, a journey to grow, to come into a more full expression of who I am and who I came to be, and seeing myself without some of these limitations that you get used to as you live day-to-day life in the same routine and stuckness. So this is like a breaking out of all of that and having an opportunity to do something different. It is a spiritual journey, and I saw Sedona as part of that. And I built up Sedona in my mind, built it up huge, and had enormous expectations. And what happens generally when we build something in our mind up and we put it on a pedestal and we have all these expectations of it, and then what does it do? Well, it disappoints us. Story of my life. When will I learn? Okay, what I'm showing in these last couple of videos is just the haze. So here's the deal. I came in the first day. I was disappointed with how the video looked even when I was driving into town, because it was a cloudy day and I knew that the red rock and everything was much more spectacular than what I was seeing. So I looked at my weather app and it said, yes, it's cloudy today, but tomorrow is going to be full sun and it'll be better. So I went off to the BLM land and I came back the next day full of excitement and expectation. And then what I got was full sun plus a bunch of haze and terrible air quality. Also, I went to do a hike first thing in the morning on this day, and there is literally no parking. So another expectation that I had, which I shouldn't have had, was that I would go to Sedona and it would be not as crowded as it is in peak season. Most of the places I've been traveling to lately have a peak season in summer, and now by late fall, they are all winding down, and I'm seeing less and less crowds, which I love, right? But I got to Sedona and did not realize that their number one huge season is spring, and then they die down a little bit in the summer, and then fall is their huge peak season again. So I did not realize I was coming into Sedona at peak season. If you guys have been watching me, you know I do not like crowds. I do not like peak season anywhere. But what I found in Sedona is it maybe even a little worse than other places, just because the parking situation, I think, is a challenge even on the best of days. And then when you throw in some extra crowds and things, it was very challenging. Did I say challenging enough? It was hard. I went in thinking I was going to be able to do this hike, and there were 2 super tiny parking lots at the trailhead that only held, I don't know, maybe 30 or 40 cars, and there were probably 100 of us who wanted in. So I headed over to Chapel of the Holy Cross. Now here's where everything turned around. I decided to let go of the fact that I couldn't do the hike that I wanted to do, and it was disappointing, but I decided to try to let go of it. And I was close to Chapel of the Holy Cross, so I was driving over here. Now, I just want to point out that even on the drive over to Chapel of the Holy Cross, I feel like the whole video and everything just looks more beautiful. And the longer we're at Holy Cross, the more beautiful and the more vibrant the colors, and everything is really going to pop. It really was truly amazing, and I felt like really honestly a spiritual experience. Look at this. Okay, so just a few minutes ago we were looking at that haze. This is the same day, just a little later on. Completely different experience. Okay, this Chapel of the Holy Cross was something so cool and so unique. I could feel, just on the drive there, I could feel it moving. I could feel it kind of bringing me back to center, bringing me back to, oh, you are in this amazing place. Don't you forget it. You're lucky to be here. Life is a game, and you are playing it, and you are winning, and this is amazing. And that whole deal. Look at this. This is the red rock I wanted. This is the red rock of my dreams. It's fantastic. Look at that. And the green against the blue and the red rocks. It's just stunning. It's beyond stunning. And I was having this spiritual experience like I get when I'm in really great, gorgeous nature, even when I was walking in. So I walk into this chapel, and I knew I had to sit down on one of the benches, and I sat down, and I literally just started to cry. And at first it started with just a couple of tears coming down my face. But as I looked at Christ on the cross, I really got just this profound feeling of carrying the heaviness of the burdens of life and how much it was weighing me down, and how I could at any moment cast it off and release it and let it go and not carry it all alone. That I have, and that each of us has, that ability to, if you will, to die to that part of ourselves that feels all the time like we have to carry the world on our shoulders, like we have to figure everything out, like we constantly have to survive and not make a wrong move, and stress and worry and all of it. The burden, the heaviness of all of it just came through, of just what I was so weighed down and felt so heavy, and I didn't even realize it. I didn't realize how much the stress of car problems, and even just everything, the everything that's coming up right now, right? Like what's going to happen at the end of these 12 months, like all of the burning questions of life, right? all of it, I didn't even realize that I was carrying it around and that it felt so heavy until I was sitting there and looking at Christ on the cross made me see the pain on his face, made me feel like it was a mirror for the pain that I was feeling, and that there's the opportunity that we have all the time to die or to release and then to be born again. So to let it go and then to start anew, because that's what the crucifixion is, right? That death is that releasing, that ending, profound releasing, and then the rebirth, right? The resurrection. And so that is a metaphor for what all of us can do at any point in life, even right now in this moment. And as I'm talking about this whole story, I know that the video is going on and it's showing you Sedona, and this is driving through, and then we'll drive through town, and then we're literally going to drive out of town, and I'll show you all this scenery just so that you have a better idea what it's like to really be here, because it really is a gorgeous place, and I really do want to come back. But I will come back when I've done a little more research and I know a better time, when it's not going to be too cold so that I can't do anything, but it's also not going to be so crowded, because this was a much shorter trip to Sedona that I was anticipating. Again, these expectations are always getting in the way. And I find that this is a lesson that keeps repeating itself for me these days. And you would think that I would be an expert by now of letting these things go, but it's such a habitual way of being, of expecting. And it's our way to kind of try to prepare ourselves, to try to know what's coming, so we minimize risk and we minimize danger and fear, and we want to try to kind of control things and understand things. We want to have these expectations of thinking we know how things might go. But every time, the more expectations I have, the more it backfires on me. And I will learn this lesson one day, and I know I'm taking baby steps, and every step I take brings me a little closer. I know that it is all working. I don't know that it's all working, but I have faith that it's all working. And that's the deal with faith, right? We don't know for sure, but this is what we're betting on. This is the story that we're telling ourselves for now, to make life worth living and to give us some purpose and some meaning and all of that. So honestly, when I was editing this video, I was shocked by the color and the clarity and the difference between when I was driving into town and now I'm leaving town. And I think about the staggering difference that two things make. Number one, the difference is lighting. Lighting. Whenever you're taking video or picture, lighting is everything. But also my mood. I was coming in, it was cloudy. My mood was cloudy. I was feeling heavy and stuck and not even realizing how much. And as I was leaving Sedona, the magic of this place was that I felt so free and so unburdened. I have such a powerful releasing, and I didn't want to ugly cry while I was in the chapel, so I held myself together so that the people around me mostly didn't know that I was crying. I didn't do ugly, blubbering cry. But when I was driving out of Sedona, that's when I had my ugly, blubbering cry, and I actually almost had to pull over because I kept wiping my eyes and stuff. And it's a very windy road. You can see it's gorgeous as you're coming in or leaving town. This is Highway 89A, I think. And just north of town and south of town is beyond gorgeous. I just think Sedona and this whole area is stunning. It is magnificent. But how much my mood and the lighting interacts to kind of show different sides of it is really, I found that really wild when I was editing this video, because I knew it when I was shooting the video, but when I was editing, it really came to the forefront and made itself super obvious. So I want to talk about just a couple more quick things. I want to tell you about camping on BLM land. There's a forestry road, 525. Everyone talks about it. A lot of people camp there when they're visiting Sedona. It was a good place, but here's the deal, and I'll show you me driving back there. And I'll show you exactly where I camped and everything. So this is the Forestry Road 525. This is when you turn off, and it almost immediately goes to gravel. Here's one little parking area up front. There were 2 or 3. This little one, and then there's a bigger one you'll see down here on the left, I believe. A little bit bigger one that housed a lot of rigs, but there it is. But I didn't necessarily want to be in a big group. I wanted to try to find more of a space by myself. I ended up going 3 miles down this road. I found a few spaces with a good view, but they were all taken. And actually, this was my first night in Sedona, and I still didn't fully realize that I was in high season. I was in the busy season. I was thinking, this isn't even the busy season, and all the good spots are gone. But of course, looking back now, I realize that I was under that misconception. So this is the road. It's pretty bumpy, but it was easily traversed by the minivan. See, there's a good view right there. There was like one spot over there overlooking this. But of course it was taken. So that was the story. I found many spots and I found them all taken. Finally, I settled for this one. Okay, here's my spot. I've actually got a little fire ring over to the left, but of course there were no fires this time of year. Late fall. There's my van. There's this nice little tree/bush to shield me from the noise and the dust and everything that was this access road. This forestry road was so busy. There were so many cars. I've never been on any BLM road, any forestry road that was busier than this. There was literally almost nonstop traffic back and forth. It slowed way down late at night, but it didn't stop. Here's my little sunset, though, which was nice. And I'll even show you a little picture of breakfast because I had plenty of time to make it. My little eggs and my sweet potatoes and my toast. Just final thoughts. I think if I had to do 525 again, I would probably just stop at the first big spot with a bunch of rigs and just do that so I didn't have to drive all the way down. And that way the dust and all that wouldn't have been such an issue. Also, these themes of, setting expectations and also getting the timing right for when I'm visiting which places are just some of these themes that keep showing themselves again and again. It's an area where I'm doing a lot of learning right now. And in short, I adored Sedona. I loved it, but I came at the wrong time of year. I'm going to do another video for you guys in Sedona. It's going to be one of my hiking videos, and it was great fun. I hope you'll stick around for that, like tomorrow or the next day. But I can't believe you made it to the end of another video. Thank you so much. I'm sending you a ton of love. Catch you next time.